Hey everybody, Pathmaker channel here again. My name is Ryan. So I'm starting to put out some videos that I'm sharing some dreams, and I'm just kind of being candid, talking about, end times things, and sharing, kind of for my family as well. So I don't have to repeat myself. I can share and just encourage, besides the body of Christ, can encourage my family and some friends. So today I want to share about a dream I had Sunday morning. And the weird thing is I'm a pretty big dreamer. I dream a lot. Sometimes they don't really have any, bearing on, prophetic things or eschatology or end time things or, the rapture of the church. And then there's a lot of times that they are. And this was one of those. It was, I just say this, there's dreams that I've had in the past that if I'm able to get them out, before we're going, I'm going to try to. But they have like some really neat twists and turns in the dreams that have a lot of symbolism or meaning or understanding of the times that, I'm currently living in or have gone through or whatever. And the dream that I'm about to share is one of those. So I'm going to try and do the best I can to deliver this one. And just kind of follow along. I'm going to try to just tell the dream and then explain it the way it kind of, how I've kind of put the pieces together on the dream. So the dream started where I was dropped into kind of like a stadium, but I knew it was the Olympic track that you run around. And dreams have a way of where one point of it seems like it's very large, but then it's very small on one side. Maybe you know what I'm talking about. So this stadium that I was in, it seemed like the track was pretty small, but it was Olympic size. And here's the other thing. I knew that I was at like a college campus where this running track was. And the running track, I wasn't running. I was actually on a bike. And I knew that the point at which I was placed in this race. Now, just listen to me and follow along. I knew it was a triathlon race that I was in. Triathlon races start with swimming first. They move from the swimming to the bicycle, which is the longest part of the race. Usually that's where you put most of your miles in. And then when you're done riding the bike, you get off and you run. So I knew that the point at which I was dropped in my dream, it wasn't that I was dropped onto the bike, like I just started. It was the point at which my dream started, letting me know, and I had the understanding that I'd already swam and that I had already bicycled the majority of the bicycle portion of this race. As I'm going around the track on this bike, the bike was very robust. It wasn't falling apart, but I was trying to maintain it as I was riding it, like making sure that the chain was good, making sure that the steering was good. And it wasn't your average bike. I mean, it was, like I said, more robust. It was very difficult to explain, but I'll explain it later. But there was a bench, like a park bench, and there was this teacher sitting on it with a man, and they were just talking about life. And as I went by on my bike, they made like a mockery type comment, like, what is he doing? What does he think he's going to accomplish? Why is he riding this bike? Why does he think he's in a race? And I kept hearing the comments as I rode around the Olympic running track on this bike. And the other thing that I had the understanding is that I had like everything was on like a level plane in my mind, that there were other people in the race that I knew, and there were other people that have already completed their race, one being my dad. So I understood that my dad had already completed the race, as I'm riding around this track. And I knew other family members and other people that I've known that have gone on have completed the race. So I knew they were watching. It's like they were in some kind of, I don't know, invisible stand, and they, the Bible says that, there's a great cloud of witnesses, that are watching and history go on. Like they're cheering for us, to complete the race. And so I'm riding around this track, and as I make the pass, I come around the track, and what was weird is there was like an equestrian bar that was like red and white striped, like, for horse parks. And it was really low to the ground, but it was really long, and there was a gravel pile on the other side of the equestrian bar. And I knew that I had to basically go back to my old days of when I used to ride when I was a teenager. I used to have a BMX bike, and I used to freestyle. And I had to bunny hop over this equestrian rail and get into this gravel pile that was on the other side. And when I did that, I jumped over it. And when I did that, the bicycle portion of the race was over, and now I was running. And I'm even wearing the typical triathlon, the tight shorts and the tight shirt, and the sunglasses and whatever, and the running shoes. I had to change my shoes from my bike shoes to my running shoes. And I'm still on this campus, and so I'm running. And the weird thing is that while I'm running, I feel like I'm fatiguing. But the weird thing is I'm also getting stronger. And so I'm running through this campus, and I'm going through, trees and grass, and I'm wanting to get through it more quickly, but it seems as though something's not allowing me. It seemed like I was on, I don't know, two different spectrums, two different playing fields, and I'll explain that later as well. So I'm running, and I come around through some buildings that was, some brick buildings that were still on this campus. And I remember circling around and down through some grass, and I'm coming around, and I see, like, it was weird, I could see through the walls into what was the library on this campus. So I remember coming around and circling and coming into the library. And as I came into that library, the bookshelves were low. They were, like countertop height. And you could see all through. And then there was different levels of the library. There was, books up higher with like a, kind of seemed like a mall, with the railings going around. And we're down in the lower level of this library. And there's people everywhere. But the weird thing is there were some people standing like in the aisles of the book, because like I said, these are countertop height bookshelves. And I could see, it was all this really nice, warm, like medium toned, stained wood with all these books in it. But there were people standing in the aisle, and there was like what seemed to be like checkouts. I don't understand that part of it, but there were like, like another person standing there, like checking the people out. Maybe they're checking their books out or something. But they're standing very still, and they're just looking at the person like it was a cashier or something. And I had to run down the aisle, and as I ran down the aisle, there was different spots where they were checking out, and there might have been one or two people standing in these lines. And as I ran down this aisle, I ran in front of the people standing in line. The strange thing is they never turned their head and looked at me or said anything. I wasn't like, what are you doing? Like, I'm standing here in line. Why are you running, past me? It was as if they were on another plane than I was, on another time type spectrum. I mean, it was just kind of strange. And I ran in front of them, and I ran through the library, and then I went out the library. And then as I got outside the library, I'm running through some grass. And all this grass, it was kind of strange. I explained it to my family. It seemed like the grass that you see in like Little House on the Prairie or out west. It's the very light colored green, flowing grass with the wind blowing through it. And I'm running down this little embankment, of grass. And and the other strange thing, let me explain this one too. As I'm on this race, I had an app on my phone that explained to me, kind of like GPS, where I had to go to make it through this course. But not only that, on the ground there was like a very faint red dashed painted line, and it only showed up every now and then and let me know that I was on the right path, like I was going in the right direction. And sometimes it would circle and do things like you would see on cartoons or some TV show you've seen or something or whatever. It just seemed very cartoonish, CG imposed in on my dream. And on this hill I'm running down through this grass, I can kind of see one, and then it kind of fades away. And as it fades away, all of a sudden I see like somebody had taken a gas can, and here's the thing, it was a family member of mine, a cousin, and her car was parked across the path, not going with the path. She was going perpendicular with the path. And she had taken a gas can and lit the grass like in a stream to give me the direction that I was supposed to be going. The strange thing is, which I don't understand, I had to go through her car, which was destroyed. And everything about the car seemed very chaotic. It was like destruction and chaos. And, like the paint was all messed up. The windows were blown out of the car. And I had to crawl through it. And the weird thing is, she was actually on top of the car. And so I crawled through her car, and I crawl out the other side, and there's still like a gas, burning, thing that she had created a path for me. And I followed it out and up a hill and got away from all that and was still running. And I'm slipping on some rocks, that were kind of on the trail, not because there was water on it or the gas on it or anything. It was just me fatiguing again. And like I'm getting weary. And again, even though I was fatiguing, I was getting stronger as I went. And so it was very odd to me. Like, how can I be getting stronger, yet this trail, this path that I'm on, I'm just kind of fatiguing and having a hard time, and I want to go faster, and I want to get there quicker, and I want to complete this thing. And why am I running up against like what seems like I'm fatiguing? So I kind of go over the hill, and I'm still going through some trees, and the strange thing is, I'm leaving this college campus, and I'm going down this hill through this grass. As I'm going through this grass, the grass kind of changes into sandy, kind of grassy sand. I do remember that. And I'm seeing, the checkered dashed, or not the checkered, but the dashed red kind of faded lines that I'm having to go on. Plus I'm using the app on my phone to making sure that I'm still following this path. And as I'm going down, I come to a very massive ship port, if you want to say that, or a dock. And it's so big that these ships, there's two ships at the dock. The one, when I'm coming down the path, or coming down the dock, to the dock on the ocean, the one on the left is massive. It's bigger than cruise ships. It's like a very large cargo ship, like a mothership. I mean, I've never seen a ship, I don't think I've ever seen a ship this big. I mean, bigger than an aircraft carrier, bigger than cruise ships, and it was massive. And I knew that ship was bringing, or had brought, the supplies to build the ship on the right. And the ship on the right, I knew was almost completed for several things. One, this concrete dock was, very, very long. I mean, it was long as an airplane runway. I don't know. I mean, it was very long, very, very wide. And there was hardly anything left on this dock. Everything had either been taken off and made this other ship. And then, so there was only like a few crates left on the dock. And when I went all the way to the end of the dock, and I went into the ship. And when I got in the ship, just like everything else that I was having to do on this race, there was obstacles. I was jumping down on crates inside the ship to get down to the bottom of the ship. And of course there were still some dashed lines that were going around. And Um, so here's the thing. So as I'm inside this ship, I noticed that from different places that I've been in my history, work life and whatever, that this boat, and I was kind of like in project management mode, sort of, is how it kind of seemed, that the ship was in trim out mode. Trim out mode is where they're putting light fixtures in, they're putting outlets in, they're putting, and I saw cabinets, like they were putting cabinets up in this one spot I was at. Place had already been painted, so they're trimming it out. And so I go into this one room, I'm following the dashes, and it was funny because the dashes on the floor were kind of faded because of like the construction that was going on. It was kind of dusty, and so it was kind of like a white dash line and a red dash line, kind of faded, like they'd been there for a while because the ship was being built. And so I'm going into a room and I circle around in the room. Like I said, it's like an obstacle course. You kind of feel that way in life, I guess. You move in one area, sometimes you feel like you're just going in circles, and then you move to another area, and you move along, and that's how it was in the ship. And as I got to moving through the ship, I had an understanding that family members, because of this ship, we were going to merge. Like, we were going to come together again. Like, my Aunt Judy and my cousin Jenny was one of them, that I knew that I was about to merge with them because of this ship. And I knew, like, I had a calendar, visual in my mind, and like I heard it, like it being told to me, the information, because I was like in project management mode, that I knew that this event, because of this ship, it was a matter of days, not weeks, not months, not years, but the ship was that close to being done. And when I had this dream this past Sunday morning, that it was a matter of days, that I was going to merge with other family members, people that have already passed on and gone on, that are already in heaven and with the Lord, and then those who are still here. And so I'm not really sure why I was thinking, but it was like, again, like a linear, on the same playing field. I knew my aunt and my cousin Jenny. It was kind of strange. I don't know why it was just, them at that moment while I was in the ship. And then I kind of stepped out of the ship, and then that's when I woke up. Well, here's the thing. When I woke up, that was like 4 o'clock in the morning. And here's what I gathered. I knew right away. Obviously, my life and everybody's life, we're all running a race. The question is where you're ending up at the end of that race. There are people that are sitting on the sidelines who are just watching, like the lady and sitting on the bench. But here's the interesting thing. At the point at which I was placed into this dream, I was on a college campus that had an Olympic, I knew it had an Olympic activity. Well, in 2014, before my dad passed, I started working for Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech, in 1996, we held the Olympics in Atlanta, and they did the Olympics on the campus that I worked at. So the point at which I was placed in my dream was like it was showing me the last 7 years that we've been going through currently. And I was on this college campus. And there were just people that were on another plane, like when I went to the library, for example, the part where I was running. And I was just wanting to get through the race. And even though these last 7 years, I feel like I have been getting stronger, I feel like I've been getting stronger in my life, and I have an understanding that strength that I was gaining was my faith and trust in God. And the whole time that I was running and I was getting stronger, I wanted people to see me at the end of this race. Not because I was going to be, like some guy who works out at the gym, I'm beautiful or whatever, or skinny or whatever the world's definition may be. But mine was, it was like a reward that I was getting stronger because of my faith. When you read the book of Revelation, it talks about the Church of Philadelphia. They're the raptured church. They're one of those raptured churches, and it's because they have been faithful. because they've kept the faith. And they'll be kept from the hour of testing that's going to come upon the whole world. That's what it says. And so I knew that I was getting stronger, but yet I wanted it to go faster because I knew I had the strength to do it, but yet I was being fatigued, like as if physically the world was fatiguing me, but spiritually I was getting stronger. And that's the two different planes. And so when I was in the library and I was running through and I was going past these people, the reason why they never responded was because they were just acting like the world. They didn't see me. They didn't really care about that. They were just consumed with, what they were doing and what their daily life was about. And so then I get out of the library and I'm running so here's what I kind of gathered. It doesn't matter who, but I felt like the Lord was showing me through this cousin of mine who had this car and it was all destroyed and it was chaotic, and she used fire to, I don't know, be like a pyro or something and create the path that I was going to keep running on. And she was sitting perpendicular on the path. To me, that meant that she wasn't on the straight and narrow path. And it didn't matter if it was a family member, it doesn't matter if it was a friend, but, she was tied to other family members and other people that I know. And it was kind of like that situation was being used to show me it doesn't matter who, family or friend, or acquaintance or whatever, God will use whoever as you're running this race to keep you on the straight and narrow, to keep you on that path. And He will use them to keep you there. But, it's not to say that they're going to hell or anything, or that they're, evil person. I'm just saying it doesn't matter who it is, family or friend, or like I said, acquaintance, or even a stranger for that fact. Because there were different people that were making comments while I was running, or, when I first started riding the bike, that didn't, sway me. Matter of fact, they kept me encouraged to keep running that race, to finish it, because that's all I had in my mindset was, when I was dropped into my dream, was to complete that part of the race, to go on to the next part of the race and complete the run. And then as I kept running, and then I'm running downhill, and I get to the port or the dock with the ship, well, I moved to Florida. I'm a stone's throw away from the ocean right now as we speak. It's just that way, where the sun's facing me right now. It's, set in that direction away from me, but that right there, I'm literally facing, I'm not even a mile that way to the ocean. And so in my dream, I really feel like the Lord was showing me, like, we transitioned down to the ocean at this point, and the big ship was the ship that was supplying everything that we needed. And the ship was not only a resource, but boats always mean just like the ark. The ark is a salvation. God had them make an ark, in the wilderness, and that was about salvation because of the things that were put in the ark. And Jesus is our salvation, and He's our way, and He's the only way. Well, there was only one door that I could get into on that ship, and it was all the way at the very end of that dock that I got onto that ship. And when I went into the ship and had to go through the obstacle courses I was seeing, and then I had an understanding that it was a matter of days that this ship was going to be finished, and I was going to merge with family and other loved ones who had gone on before me, or even friends, not just loved ones, family and friends. But I had an understanding of that, and then my dream was over. But, well, I'm at the ocean right now. And so I have a really good understanding that the Lord was showing me, the last 7 years I've been running the end of this triathlon race. And I really feel like, our lives are in three stages. You have a child, this adolescence, infants to, your childhood. Then you have like your teenage, young adult, and then you have your adult. And that to me was kind of like this, even your spiritual walk could be the same way, not just your physical walk here on earth. But and I see that God doesn't matter what, He's used technology. He's used, even though Satan is using technology, because technology is witchcraft, it's Wicca, it's whatever you want to call it. It's Satan's plan to deceive man, and God has allowed those things to happen. And just like I'm using my phone right now, I'm using technology right now to what they're using for brainwashing propaganda methods, the body of Christ is using to deliver a message. So God's going to allow us to use, these tools, if you will, to get things done. And so I feel like, everything that I've gone through, as far as, this dream just kind of revealed what the past 7 years have been like, which has been the running part of the race. And, and then I got, like I said, got through all of it. It was just a very unique dream. And, maybe this will be an encouragement to, my family and some friends and anybody who's watching on YouTube that, come across the video, that I really do feel like time's short. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not going to say I'm the end all be all, and I'm the only one that's got understanding, but I'll tell you this, there's been plenty of people that I've watched for the past decade and longer that have had dreams, have had visions, who, I've got over 200 subscribers on my YouTube page that I follow, and I've been following some people I don't listen to anymore, some people that are new that I follow. There's, Pastor J.D. Frog that you guys need to go tune into, that he's been doing this for 15 years, and I've been listening to him for a long time. And he's got a good pulse on things, and God's really using him, and I feel like he's, really got an ear and an eye for things that are going on here recently, and kind of got more tuned in. I think that the whole COVID crap has really tuned a lot of people in. I think that's really been the last sign to a lot of us that things are wrapping up. I mean, they have been to me. And I could go on for hours. I could talk here and, and go on and tell all kinds of things that have happened, how I got here, while I'm here, what the Lord showed me in other dreams. So, that's part of the reason why I'm going to get here and try to get some dreams and some discussions and things off my chest. Hopefully, because, like I said, it could be a matter of days. Like I said, there's been many of the things that the Lord has shown me or spoke to me that, I'm not at liberty to say everything, or certain things that have gone on with even my family that, I just wouldn't feel right about discussing some of those things. But, I can clearly see how the Lord's brought me here. And then he's, through this dream, really showed me, what's come about. So I've been rambling on, but it was a longer dream. I had more detail to it. I can probably discuss more of the things that I feel like, through the dream, but I know that that's what the Lord was showing me, because I was working on a campus. I was working on Georgia Tech campus, for almost 7 years. And, here we are, moving into what would have been the 8th year, I guess. But actually, no, this would be the 7th year. This would be the 7th year. So, yeah, it's been the last 7 years. So, but yeah, if you got anything, you want to say, comment, let me know. Maybe some other things will come to mind, and I could come back and maybe do a recap on the video. I don't know, but I've talked my family's ear off, telling the dream and discussing it and talking to the Lord about it when I woke up, which is what I usually do. And he brings me a lot of peace and comfort when we have discussions, because, I got a relationship. God's not just some guy sitting on a throne with a stick waiting to beat you over the head. He's a loving God, and he desires to have a relationship. So my thing is time's short, and come to Christ as soon as possible, because we're at the end, people. And just like his desire, it's my desire that everyone would come to Christ. So don't hesitate. Come to Christ soon, because I think we fly soon. I think we're going up. So thanks for tuning in. God bless. See you later.